Uh-oh, I had a fucking feeling. The flight mechanic is currently going to be region locked. I gotta say, I'm not super surprised. I was hesitant when I first saw flight, and unfortunately I was right on that. I sort of guessed it because of how it was labeled as flight challenge, and I also want to point this out since they also subtly told us based on how they laid out the traversal mechanics. They said their goal with exploration, then listed off the permanent things available anywhere, i.e. wall running, parkour, and unlimited stamina, but then went into the not widely available things, meaning the leap devices and elusive sprints, which are only seen in certain regions but aren't specifically locked. They just aren't present anywhere else yet in the open world, like you see them in Elusive Realm for example. From that point on, if you continue down that logic, then yeah, they did tell us, quote unquote, without actually having to say it and kill the hype mid 2.0 stream. Very, very clever, Kuro. I see what you're doing here. I do think that's kind of important, so yeah. Regardless though, yes, this is a point of contention, and I want to touch on it because it asks, how are you feeling after hearing this, and additionally, is there room for this becoming a permanent unbound feature? Like, for me it doesn't really kill the hype at all for Renacida, but I can imagine for some it will or yeah, it kinda already has. As for the second question, I think it can be, but honestly I think it won't be until much later on. I think Jinzhou and everywhere else would need to be expanded to fit this new gadget, or they would need to find some way to semi-rein it in so that the exploration isn't, I guess, too easy or something. I don't know, you know, it's kind of weird, like, people are kind of weird about exploration stuff, and so, I mean, I don't really know where to gauge this, so I mean, what are your takes on this? I also want to say too, don't freak out too much, considering Kuro's generally been good on listening to players thus far. So just continue to give your feedback on this and let them know that we'd like this freedom to be extended out to anywhere. Secondly, I think for the foreseeable future, like 90% of people will just be chillin' here in Renacida. A new area means a new hangout spot, and with people constantly saying how Jinzhou looked too dull or how Black Shores were too gray, Renacida. Is this bright enough for you? Are there enough colors and diversity in the world here? I think people will barely go back to Jinzhou, Huanglong, or the Black Shores, and that will especially be the case if we find flying around to be just really fun and entertaining. Either way, Kuro, I do hope that in the near future, you can find a way to make it so flying can just be available wherever. Thankfully, the new Echo will be a great addition, and that doesn't seem to be locked to Renacida, so there is that. The other bright side is that this gadget will just be here for everyone. It's not locked behind a chance via gacha. So by that fact alone, there's more than enough hope that flying and future mechanics for exploration can be accessible. We just gotta give them our feedback and time. I will say to approach any incoming future videos about this with a more level-headed mind, as I'm sure the content creators here will act as if life itself is dying on the doorstep. I 100% expect to see the global drama sphere make a mountain out of a molehill with this information and make it like a 10 or 15 minute video. So, just saying, look out for those videos.